안녕하세요. 다들 좋은 한 주 보내고 계신가요? 제가 아주 귀한 분을 초대해서 인터뷰한 내용을 오늘 나누려고 하는데요. 이번에 인터뷰하게 되신 분은 The Technical Trader라는 회사의 창시자이자 전문 투자자인 크리스 버뮬런으로 16살 때부터 25년 넘게 투자를 하시고 주식, 부동산, 퓨처스, 옵션, 금, 가상화폐 등 모든 자산에 투자를 해본 분으로서 지금은 투자로 큰 성공을 거두셔서 이른 나이에 은퇴하고 본인의 회사를 차려서 자유롭고 본인이 원하는 걸 하면서 현재 아주 멋지게 살고 계시고요. 그 과정 속에 큰 실패도 많으셨던 분입니다. 이런 시행착오와 실패를 거듭하시면서 본인만의 투자 방법을 찾았고 25년 이상 투자하시면서 확신을 갖게 된 부분은 마켓에서 일어나고 있는 모든 뉴스, 사건, 사고들, 인플레이션, 금리 인상 등은 노이즈에 불과하고 차트만 정확히 파악할 줄 안다면 뉴스조차 볼 필요 없이 투자를 해도 큰 성공을 거둘 수 있다는 걸 깨달으셨다고 합니다. 자, 대부분의 투자자들은 뉴스가 터지면 그 뉴스에 맞춰서 마켓이 움직인다고 생각하실 텐데요. 저 역시 그랬고요. 이분의 말에 따르면 뉴스는 노이즈이자 뉴스로 인한 마켓의 변동은 아주 일시적인 현상이고 차트가 뉴스에 의해 움직이는 것이 아니고 신기하게도 차트의 움직임에 맞춰서 뉴스들이 나온다는 말을 하더라고요. 그리고 결국 노이즈는 잠깐 있을 수 있지만 그 뉴스들도 잠잠해지고 결국은 차트가 가리키는 방향을 향해서 주식시장이 움직인다고 합니다. 자, 원래는 30분 요청했던 인터뷰가 2시간이 넘어가는 바람에 중요한 부분들만 편집을 했는데요. 좋은 내용들이 너무 많은 것 같아서 2부로 나눠서 영상을 준비해 봤습니다. 자, 이분이 생각하시는 다음 리세션 시기와 2022년 베어 마켓이 정말로 끝이 났다고 생각하시는지, 만약 아니라면 우리는 지금 마켓 사이클의 어느 시점에 와 있고 닷컴 버블, 서브프라임 크라이시스와 이번 버블은 얼마나 유사한지, 그리고 만약에 대대적인 리세션이 온다면 어떤 방식으로 투자할 생각이신지 등 좋은 인사이트들을 두 번의 영상으로 나눠서 최선을 다해 편집해 봤습니다. 자, 여러분들께서 인터뷰를 쭉 보실 수 있도록 영상 중간에 제가 관리할 수 있는 유튜브 광고들은 모두 삭제하도록 하겠습니다. 시킹 알파에서 이번에 새로운 프로모션이 나왔는데 시킹 알파의 주식 분석 시스템을 이용해서 가장 저평가되고 많이 오를 확률이 높은 주식들을 한 달에 2개씩 나눠주는 서비스를 1년에 199불에서 50% 할인해서 지금은 99불에 한다고 합니다. 한 달에 8불 내신다고 생각하시면 될 것 같습니다. 여기 보시듯이 이 서비스에서 추천한 주식에만 투자했을 경우에 2010년부터 지금까지 13년간 S&P 500 인덱스보다도 거의 2배 가까운 수익을 냈었고요. 알파픽스로 가셔서 픽스 아래 관심 있으신 주식을 클릭하시면 이런 식으로 이 주식에 대한 분석과 왜 매수를 했는지에 대한 디테일이 나옵니다. 이 서비스에 관심 있으신 분들은 역시나 아래 디스크립션에 링크를 클릭하시기 바라겠습니다. 그리고 만약에 시킹 알파 등록 자체가 조금 불편하신 분들께서는 제가 영상 마지막 부분에 나눌 제 페이트리언 멤버십 통해서 다른 서비스와 함께 이 2개의 주식을 받아보실 수 있고요. 다른 것 말고 매달 2개 주식에만 관심이 있고 시킹 알파 등록도 불편하시다면 제 유튜브 채널의 멤버십을 통해서 매달 2개의 주식을 나누도록 하겠습니다.
Hello, everyone. It is my honor to have one of the best traders in the market, Chris VERMEULEN, founder and chief market strategist at thetechnicaltraders.com, as you can see in the background over there on our channel today. So thank you very much, Chris, for your time today and also for willing to share your insights of the market.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on the show, Andrew. It's a pleasure to be on here. And I've been trading and investing for over 25 years. I started when I was 16 years old, and I have kind of done all different styles of investing, from trading stocks to options to futures to Forex, you name it. I've done day trading, and I've kind of just found my style of trading and investing that I think makes the most sense. It's all based around technical analysis. So I used to trade with fundamentals. You know, if a company had earnings and, you know, they're looking like they were growing, I used to invest in those. And then I realized during a bear market, even if a company is growing by leaps and bounds, a falling stock market pulls it down with it. And I lost a ton of money back in the tech days with companies that were actually doing really well, yet their price still got cut in half or beyond that. And so that was when I threw fundamentals right out the window. I said, okay, you know what? The only thing that matters as a trader and investor is if price goes in our favor. The best way to do that is to follow trends, and that's through watching the charts using technical analysis. And this way we don't have to try and pick bottoms or tops. We just wait for an asset that we like to start a new trend, and then we jump on, we follow that trend, and we just manage our positions with protective stops in play place. We pull profits off when we reach certain levels. We move our protective stop up as the price rallies so that if it does and when it does roll over, we can still get out with a good chunk of our profits. And so that's why I'm called the technical trader. I do not follow news. I could care less about the news or fundamentals or economic data. I just look at the charts, and in seconds, I'll know if a chart looks good or if it should just be ignored. And, I can get a whole feel of the market in about 5 minutes just flipping through my charts and looking at my lists of sectors and assets.
So as I hear you, you're saying that you only follow the charts, meaning that you don't focus, or your investment strategy is not impacted by, let's say, the FOMC announcements, any news that comes out. That doesn't have any impact on your trading. It's all based on the chart analysis.
Yeah. So none of that news gets factored in. People get hung up on it. They close positions. They open new positions. They adjust stuff. The reality is the underlying market trend, if you're following the overall trend, news typically falls in line with the overall price trends on the charts. And so I've just learned to just ignore it. More times than not, the news is usually favorable for the current trend we're in. If it's not favorable, it's usually just a 1 or 2 day blip on the chart that goes against the trend, and the market recovers miraculously within a few days or the same day, and then just keeps on going.
In 2023, the market has been doing very, very well, right? And I think it made a lot of investors surprised, since the majority of the investors were anticipating a severe market crash in the beginning of 2023. And I think there was a lot of short positions, which didn't turn out very well. But first of all, were you surprised that the market was actually rallying in 2023? And can you even share your thoughts on why you think the market is actually rallying early this year?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things going on. I was not surprised of the 2022 bear market. We had a major sell signal. All the charts were pointing to a big decline in 2022, and we've been expecting higher prices in 2023. I think they might stall out this year and potentially go a whole lot lower later. But overall, when you follow the charts, everything is unfolding pretty much as we've expected. And so this is the weekly chart of the SP 500, and we've got the COVID crash that happened over here, which we navigated. And then eventually we end up getting a buy signal on the overall trend of the market. We went into a bull market phase, and then we ended up getting a sell signal. This was early 2022. And then the market has been going down and struggling, and we've got a new buy signal. And now we're kind of in this bullish phase. But this bullish phase we're in, this is called a complacency phase, or this whole area right here is a stage 3 topping phase. And usually what comes after this is a nightmare for investors. It's a stage 4 decline. The last time we saw this was the 2008 financial crisis. Before that was the tech bubble. And that means the stock market is going to sell off and crash in a very big way. And we're going to have a financial reset, a reevaluation event in stocks, real estate, probably currencies, a whole bunch of everything is going to have this big adjustment. The stock market's got these 4 stages. Stage 1 is a base. The market is trying to figure out what it's doing. It's not favorable, which is why it's red. Price is always chopping around. And then you get into a stage 2, which is an advancing stage. This is a bull market, which we just came off of one from like more or less 2009 to 2021. And then we're in this topping stage 3 phase. And this rally that we're seeing right now in 23 is this stage right here. People think a new bull market is starting. I mean, when most people were bearish, as you mentioned, coming into 2023. They thought it was going to be a bloodbath. We're going to see further selling, but the markets aren't going to go in the direction that the majority of people have placed their bets. And so the market has been going up, making people think, hey, you know what? I think we're starting a new bull market. And we can see that in the charts, in the sentiment. So right now we are seeing growth stocks like the ARK ETFs. All the growth and technology stocks have come to life. Money is piling back into those very lucrative, fast-moving equities. We're seeing record amounts of short covering on the SP 500. When you look at the options and the futures and the COT data, people are covering their shorts because they're realizing, oh my gosh, the stock market's going higher. I don't want to be short this market. And that's what we need. We need everybody to get into this phase right here, which is an emotional phase, a complacency phase, where everybody thinks, okay, we're starting a new major bull market. And once everybody's on that bandwagon and feeling good, that's when this stage 4 decline hits and everybody gets hit emotionally, financially. And they'll go through these waves of anxiety. Can't believe the market's breaking down. We just had a bear market like a year and a half ago. These stage 4 declines, the United States, there was a survey done that 6,500 people committed suicide between 2008 and 2009, directly linked to falling stock prices. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, although it looks like it. I'm trying to say, listen, you need a game plan in place. If this market rolls over, you better not just let 30, 40 years of your life savings just evaporate. So that is kind of that phase that we're in. And
so one thing is, I think a lot of hedge fund managers were anticipating a market crash. So they were putting their money on the sidelines, and, the treasury bonds, the yields are like over 5%. So I think a lot of people are parking their money in monthly T-bills or 3 months just to keep it on the side while they're, making profits. But the problem is they're missing a lot. And, they're hedge fund managers, they have to bring profits to their customers, but they're really missing this rally. And I think there's a lot of money on the sidelines. So I think there's a lot of money to come into the market before. It's like a FOMO for the hedge funds, I think. Do you think that there will be a major crash like in the near future, or do you think we have to wait quite some time for all that money to come in? But I would love to hear your thought on what you think of the money that's on the sideline and people waiting to get into the market, but the market's rallying. And then the second thing is, are you saying that this pattern you're seeing right now is being repeated or has repeated in the past based on your career experiences?
Yeah. So in terms of waiting for the capital to come back in and get everybody on the wrong side or long the markets, I think that's happening right now. And so the market topped out in 2021. If we come back, this was the decline. This was a big downtrend. This is a very significant pivot high right here, right on the top of this candle. And so I think a lot of people were coming into 2023 expecting the market to roll over and keep selling down. But what happened is it keeps going up. And as you can see here, just a week ago, this is a weekly chart, we broke that level and we had a very strong pop and squeeze. I call it a squeeze because the long-term people who are short the markets, hedge funds, mutual funds, those expecting further blood in the streets, they all realize, okay, if it breaks this major standout decline, this high, we got to get out of those. And so it created a big short squeeze. And we had a very strong push and move to the upside. And that was just a technical level where if you're a technical trader and it starts to break, you're short the market and it starts to make higher highs, you got to get out. It's now in an uptrend and you're holding a position on the wrong side. That's the big question. Or is this going to continue to work itself back up and try to go to a double top? Definitely people are piling back in thinking, oh my gosh, we're starting a new bull market, get me into the fastest moving tech stocks, AI is thing. And so I think in a couple of weeks, we're going to see the position has changed dramatically from people being short, expecting lower prices, to now most people are now long, expecting higher prices. So we're only like a week or two away from potentially seeing having proof that, okay, there's been a big shift. Everybody went from bearish to now they're bullish. So we could be very close. This is the weekly chart of the of the NASDAQ. And more or less, we were in a major cycle to the upside. We saw a huge correction in equity prices. We saw the NASDAQ fall about 47%, and then it rallied up and recovered about 62%. And so this here is that complacency stage. This is that move I've drawn on the charts. And then, of course, when it runs out of steam, when the majority of people finally say, okay, we're in a new bull market, get me in, then the market goes into a massive sell-off and the NASDAQ fell like 80%. So this is that complacency stage that I think we're in, and we're having a very similar scenario where if we were to go back and take a look at crude oil, to give you an idea of what happened in crude oil, here's the huge rally in crude oil back in 2007, 2008. It skyrocketed higher as the leading asset, and that's what happens just before the stock market crashes. And then if we just zoom in a little bit here, the market ended up coming right down into this kind of consolidation area here. So oil screamed higher, and then it pulled back and found support, and then we got into the stage 4 decline, which stocks, commodities, everything fell. This phase right here is the reevaluation phase. It's the stage 4 level. Now, if we go and take a look at what's going on here, we saw last year, we saw a huge move up in crude oil. It's got this support level right through here. It has sold back down. And now we're on the cusp of going into another reset where crude is going to flush down. We go into a recession, businesses struggle, bankruptcies, products slow down, shipping slows down. There's going to be very little demand for crude, and we could see crude break down. So You know, the commodities are doing the same type of thing in terms of how they move during these major phases. Let's take a look at the market today. The NASDAQ is definitely getting juiced from the AI side of things, but we've had the big move up. We've had this initial NASDAQ fell like 37%. It's rallied back up. It's getting definitely, it's being the leader, but it's doing exactly what it did, you know, both those other times. And eventually, if this puts in a double top or rolls over, we could go and see a much bigger correction. And the SP 500 might actually be a better view for this because it's a little bit more, it's not so sector driven on just technology. When we look at the SP 500, we've got the initial move down. We've got this complacency move in play. It's a big bear flag pattern. And we're right now just seeing the sentiment shift from bearish to really bullish. And that's usually kind of one of the last straws before we start to see some big reset. So I'm pretty certain it's going to happen, but I need to make sure everybody understands just because I think it's going to happen and I'm saying, you know, it sounds like it's going to happen. It doesn't mean you just bet on it. You have to follow price and you have to manage positions. You can't just say, oh, Chris said it's going down and I've been short forever for the last several months and I'm down huge. And people do that. And it blows my mind that people are just so basic and just going off pure emotions and just hoping and praying. The key here is you need to have strategies.
Is there a specific, let's say, indicator or something that you're keeping an eye on that you think will trigger this major market sell-off? And then the second question is, I hear this a lot where with the inflation that we have right now, people say, like Ray Dalio says, cash is trash. What's your opinion of having cash on the sideline versus always have to be in the market like 100%?
제가 이전 어카운트가 해킹되어서 삭제당하기 전에 진행하던 페이트리언 멤버십 서비스를 다시 진행하게 되었습니다. 플래티늄 멤버들과는 격주로 줌 미팅을 진행할 생각이고요. 매일매일 마켓의 인사이트, 시킹 알파에서 매달 추천하는 가장 저평가되고 오를 확률이 높은 두 개의 주식들, 매주 전문 투자자들이 눈여겨보는 주식들, 그리고 제가 올해 눈여겨보는 주식 리스트를 업데이트 되는 대로 다 나눌 생각입니다. VIP 멤버들과는 방금 말한 서비스에 더해서 3-4명의 전문 투자자들이 제공하는 유료 서비스를 구독해서 이분들의 철저한 리서치를 바탕으로 10배 이상 성장할 가능성이 높은 추천 주식 포트폴리오들, 올해 이미 200% 이상 수익낸 주식들이 대부분인데요. 이분들의 포트폴리오도 업데이트 되는 대로 다 나누도록 하겠고요. 제가 장기 투자 목적으로 매수하는 주식들과 트레이드할 경우 매수 매도 지점, 그리고 제가 하는 옵션들도 함께 나누도록 하겠습니다. 이런 페이트리언 멤버십 서비스에 관심 있으신 분들께서는 아래 디스크립션에 링크를 클릭하셔서 함께 했으면 좋겠습니다. 조금이라도 도움이 되셨다면 주위 분들과 나눠주셨으면 너무 고맙겠고요. 구독과 라이크를 해주시면 더욱 감사하겠습니다.